I'm going to give you one more example of solving. That's still going to leave you two that I'm not doing videos of from this section of the cumulative review. So, doing number 14, remember I need to factor everything. This x is already factored. Of course, on the numerators, I just have 1, so those are all fine, right? But x squared minus 6x, I can factor out an x and get x times x minus 6. And 3x minus 18, I have a greatest common factor of 3. So I can pull that out, and that also gives me x minus 6, because 3 times 6 is 18. So I'm going to rewrite this just to make it a little nicer. So I have 1 over x, and I'm going to leave some space because I know I'm going to need to multiply by some missing factors in a minute. And I have 1 over x times x minus 6 plus 1 over 3 times x minus 6. All right, so I need to think about my common denominator. It has to include any factor that I see. So here I've got an x. So I know my common denominator needs to include an x. Here I have an x minus 6. Well, if I go down here and look, so far I only have an x. So I need to make it match this. So in order to do that, it needs an x minus 6. Now, this denominator and this one match, or rather this denominator from the fraction is included in my common denominator. And I look over here and I have 3 times x minus 6. If I look down below, I have the x minus 6, but I don't have the 3. So I'm just going to put the 3 out here. And now every factor in any one of these is included in this common denominator. From that, of course, I can get my domain restrictions. I have 3 not equal to 0, but that doesn't give me anything. Then I have x not equal to 0. That's one domain restriction. I have x minus 6 not equal to 0, which gives me x not equal to 6. So from all of that, I get x not equal to 0 or 6. Those are my domain restrictions, and when I get the solution, I'll need to check it against that. So this common denominator has to now multiply by each of those fractions. So 3x, x minus 6, right there. It's 3x, x minus 6, right there. And 3x, x minus 6, right there. I've multiplied the entire equation, every fraction in there, with the common denominator. The reason I do that is because I really don't like dealing with these rational expressions. I'd like them to go away and be nice linear or, at worst case, quadratic expressions to give me a linear or quadratic equation. So I'm going to cancel out anything that cancels, which is going to be my entire denominator in every case. So my x will go away, and that gives me 1 times 3 times x minus 6 equals, here my x's go away and my x minus 6 goes away. Well, that's nice. That just leaves me with 1 times 3. Plus, here my 3 goes away and my x minus 6 goes away, which leaves me with 1 times x. So this will actually, again, be a nice linear equation. 1 times 3 is, of course, just 3. So I have a 3 to distribute here. This is just 3. So I have 3x minus 3 times 6 is 18 equals 3 plus 1 times x is just x. I'm going to subtract an x from both sides, which gives me a 2x over here and nothing there. Then to move this 18 over, it's negative, so I'm going to add 18 to both sides. That gives me 2x equals 21. Divide by 2, and I get x equals 21 over 2, or if you're the kind a person who likes a decimal, you can go ahead and divide that and get x equals 10.5. Either one is correct. All right, we do need to check and make sure that we don't see this answer over our domain restriction, but we don't. Our only domain restrictions are 0 or 6, so we're done.